the Board of Trustees of the California State University and California State University, Los Angeles, are proud to confer upon George Takei the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. It is an ancient custom to invest those who receive academic degrees with hoods that designate the degree bestowed. We present this hood to George Takei. All right, your turn.
Oh my! I am greatly privileged to be with you this afternoon on this occasion of your commencement from Cal State Los Angeles, with your family and friends assembled here beaming with pride for you and for me to receive this honorary doctorate. This is a momentous event for all of us. Certainly it is an afternoon of celebration. We celebrate all of your achievements at this fine university as you begin the next chapter of your life. And for me, this is an afternoon of deep gratitude for this extraordinary distinction and personal reflection. To receive this recognition, this honorary doctorate from Cal State LA, located right here in this vibrant community of East Los Angeles, is particularly meaningful to me. You see, I was born not too far from here on Boyle Avenue, right over that hill there. I was born in East LA. Nací en el barrio mexicano de Los Ángeles, East LA. Me encanta la cultura mexicana en América. Y me gusta comida mexicana. I grew up here in East LA with friends with nicknames like Pelon, Lata, and Chichi. My mother learned to cook Mexican from our neighbor, Mrs. Gonzalez. And thanks to her, Mrs. Takei, my mother, made the best enchiladas and tacos in all East LA. But when Pearl Harbor was bombed by Japan, our lives changed cataclysmically. Overnight, people looked at us with suspicion and fear and outright hatred, simply because of our ancestry. Our family, together with 120,000 other Japanese Americans, were forced out of our homes by the US government and imprisoned in barbed wire prison camps simply because we happened to look like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor. I still remember the barbed wire fences that confined us. I remember the tall sentry towers with the machine guns pointed at us. I remember the searchlight that followed me when I made the midnight run from our barrack to the latrine. To my parents, it was an invasive, humiliating, degrading light. But to 5-year-old me, I thought it was nice that they lit the way for me to pee. I was a kid, and children are amazingly adaptable. I adapted to a grotesquely abnormal American childhood. At the end of the war, the gates of the prison camp were flung open, and we were free to go. We came back home to East LA. This time we lived on North Soto Street, also not too far from here. I'm an East LA homie. And from here, I went on to make a career as an actor in Hollywood, working on TV shows, movies, and a series called Star Trek. And last year, at the age of 78, I made my Broadway debut in a musical titled Allegiance in New York City. But throughout my acting career, because of my childhood imprisonment and unjust incarceration, I've always been mindful of the preciousness as well as the responsibilities that come with our American citizenship. As President Abraham Lincoln famously said, our nation is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Ours is a people's democracy. The people have the capacity to do great things, as President Lincoln did when he led the nation into a bloody civil war and freed the slaves, making America a more moral nation. Americans have done great things, but the problem with a people's democracy is that we are also fallible human beings. We make mistakes. We have made terrible mistakes, like holding other human beings as slaves and imprisoning people like me, innocent people, in barbed wire prison camps simply because of our ancestry. Human fallibility is embedded in a people's democracy, together with our capacity to do great deeds. A people's democracy is dependent on citizens who cherish the high ideals of our nation and actively engage in the process. But that process can sometimes be very testing. Today we are in the midst of a messy presidential election. It is an unusually stormy campaign season. We may not all believe that immigrants from south of our border are criminals, but there are many who do. Quite to the contrary, we believe that immigrants energize and contribute to the vitality of our society. We may not think all Muslims are terrorists, but astonishingly, a number of Americans do. We believe that the millions of Muslims throughout the world are good, decent people. And indeed, we know that Muslim Americans have fought for this country and have died for this country. All this turmoil is an extreme display of a people's democracy in action. If our elections are messy, it's because we are a messy people. We have the capacity to be the whole range of what it means to be human, from shiningly noble to despicably rotten. This election reflects us. It is our mirror. We are as diverse and complex a nation, and a nation of very opinionated people. It is our duty then, and responsibility as citizens of a people's democracy, to rise to the best ideals of our heritage as Americans. Our nation, a people's democracy, was established on the glowing principles set forth by our founding fathers, that all men are created equal, with an inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The central pillar of our justice system requires due process. Detention requires a charge that could be challenged in a court of law. The founding fathers were great men, but they were also human. They too were fallible human beings. When they stated, all men are created equal, they literally meant all men. Women had no rights. They couldn't vote, they couldn't own property, they didn't even have rights over their own children. But because determined women and fair-minded men challenged and debated and marched for equal rights for women, that today 3 women sit as justices on the Supreme Court of the United States. And a woman has emerged as a real possible potential president of the United States. And our democracy is better for it. The great men who founded this nation also kept other human beings as slaves. But because those slaves hungered for justice and freedom, and they struggled for it, and because their children and their grandchildren and the generations that followed maintained the struggle through the Jim Crow years and through the years of the Civil Rights Movement, that today the descendants of slaves are in the halls of Congress as lawmakers, and an African American is serving as the President of the United States. Our democracy is great for it. We have an inspiring heritage as Americans. Ours is a dynamic democracy, ever changing, ever improving, ever expanding rights to more people. As you now enter the next chapter of your life, energized to build your careers, you are also at a momentous time in American history. You are participants in a people's democracy, a modern democracy fit for our times. I hope you are aflame about your role in shaping our government for a new century. We, your generation and mine, have a challenge to boldly go where we have never gone before. Let us learn from the lessons of history, and as the Founding Fathers did, shape a new nation to fit the ever-advancing, constantly innovating, dynamic challenges of the 21st century. Let us boldly go where we have never gone before, and may the class of 2016 live long and prosper. Thank you very much.